Hello and welcome to Plato's Cave on WCCR, coming to you from Australia, the land down under, for Revolution Radio on revolution.radio, home to ideas, thoughts, musings, streams of consciousness, if you will, and really great interaction in the chat room. If you're there, I'm there. It's a new link. The link on the website does not work, so maybe if somebody could post a new link on the website, that would be good. Anyway, today is the 26th of December. That's right, 2023, Boxing Day in Australia, Boxing Day. No, it's not about boxing gifts, it's about going to boxing matches. Yes, that's the origin of that one. You can catch the cave on the air, on the line, and on your smart device. So grab an app to listen anywhere or listen at home on a great tabletop digital radio. Nice and cozy in your favorite armchair, overstuffed, hopefully. Why not?
Don't mention food.
Spoken like the survivor of the infamous food coma. Join the club and check out the archives. That's pretty cool. You can do that. Why not? Do it. It's free. It's free. Correct. Importantly, though, what is not free is the running of the station. It's not free. And it costs money to run. So if you have any spare coinage or foldage, please donate. If you can't, that's okay. Bitcoin is okay too, by the way. Any kind of cryptocurrency, really, to be honest. But like I said, it's okay not to be able to donate because it's tough all over. But if you can tell people about the station, that would be really good. So I think we should tell people about the station, and then one of those good, kind people in the spirit of the season to donate to the station. Before we start broadcasting at you in anger, we would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land from which we broadcast. And for Dave, today we are at
the Bunjalung. Hello?
Bunjalung. Thank you, sir. That was a massive delay on my end. And I'm coming to you from the good country of the dark people, and we'd like to acknowledge all indigenous people, really, and we'd like to pay our respects to elders past, present, and future, no matter where they may be. No matter where they may be. Dave, my friend, you are suffering from what is commonly known in Western society. It's overload of the good stuff. Are you suffering in silence, or are you woefully bemoaning your fate?
That's very funny. And look, I'd like to say good morning to everyone. Good morning to all of our American listeners. 7 o'clock cup of Joe. They're just entering in to Boxing Day, the day after Christmas. And, Christmas dinner, even Boxing Day morning. You leave a knife in the ham, and you walk past the fridge, you cut a little piece off. Reliving the goodness. And then you have a little sleep coma, a little food coma, and then you wake up and just rinse and repeat. And look, I don't know about you, Mackie, but it's 80% humidity here, and I'm coastal. I'm like maybe 200 meters from the beach, or less, 100 meters from the beach, and it is so humid, and we've had so many storms. I know we'll get onto that, but right now, if you are anywhere between Brisbane and Bundaberg, you won't have power. You'll probably be swimming to work tomorrow. They've had so much rain this afternoon. It's again yet another day of constant rain. It all comes from that low that there was the cyclone Jasper, and it's still picking up that moisture and delivering it via a trough down to the eastern coast from that little cutout up the top of Australia is where it's sitting, and it's an ex-tropical cyclone, but now it's a low, and it's absolutely horrendous. I did a small video, Mickey, this afternoon. I did a 20-second video
I saw that.
I was just looking at the. It didn't kind of turn out as well. The golden sky, and I just panned to where the lightning was, and there was lightning in the 20 seconds. Because did you know that Brisbane overnight had 250,000 lightning strikes?
Is that all?
Rookie numbers, huh?
I spit on you, lightning. No, that's actually
That's
pretty
significant.
incredible, to be honest. That's,
It was almost perpetual lightning. There was lightning lighting up the sky every second. It was just insane.
That means we could have sent 250,000 people 30 years into the past.
We could have.
Right?
Yeah.
1.21 gigawatts.
Great Scott.
Hey. Oh, a lot of time traveling that night, I tell you. But look, the funny thing is this. I listened to, we spoke about this, I listened to this interview with a meteorologist, and he said, "Oh, look, this is not it is not so unusual that we wouldn't expect to ever see it," he said, "but it is quite unusual to see this at this time of the year during El Nino year, and never mind all the lightning strikes. But what has happened apparently is this pocket of Antarctic air escaped the South Pole, as it were, and came directly to Australia's east coast. Accounting, of course, for what is now, I mean, that's some serious weather, my friend. It's like, what? It's really quite unusual. Honestly, I've never seen that much rain, like 2,000 millimeters in a few days. 2,000, I still can't get over it, 2,000 millimeters.
I know, right?
And 250,000.
Yes.
250,000 lightning strikes.
I heard that stat this afternoon on the Bureau's broadcast about what's still due to come this afternoon. So I heard it today, and it's like, wow, there's some big numbers. And then I've been watching the radar and going, they'll smash that today for sure. I swear, in the radar images, I swear I saw the hook of a tornado up near Bundaberg. So we'll have to see tomorrow what that turned out to be. Because I'm a storm chaser, registered storm chaser, and while we don't get very many tornadoes, we do get some tornadoes in Australia, and you can. It's very clear on radar when you have two almost 90-degree winds at different layers, and the corner of those, the overlap on the leading edge is where you'll see that spin. If it's absolutely right, if all the conditions are right, that's where the spin occurs, and it starts the hook, and it's a telltale. Of course, in Australia it goes clockwise. Yeah, so extraordinary. That's all I really wanted to mention about it. I just think that being here in the weather, I've taken some really nice photos of storms that are about nearly 100 miles away from where the highest point I can get to, and on the coast, and still see these storms. Just tremendous, absolutely huge supercells, and it's the stuff of storm chasing. Mackie, I'm going to tell you straight away.
No, but look, that's look, people.
You see them in the Midwest, right?
Well, you do, and the thing is, this would have surprised. I mean, nobody would have been able to come here on purpose to chase this particular storm. This came as a huge surprise to everybody. That's what happened. I
saw Sydney got trounced yesterday as well. Yep, Central Coast, where I'm normally at, that got it didn't do very much rain, but the lightning was pretty spectacular. So this afternoon we didn't get many cloud to grounds. We got cloud to cloud, and those fingers of lightning going out across the sky were just incredible. It really is something, and it's really weird that lightning should do that, because the charge builds up in the earth and another charge builds up in, I'm preaching to convert it, built up in a cloud, and the earth reaches up with leaders and the cloud reaches down, and when they touch on any of those two paths, but the one they branch, they pull, stop, pull, branch, and then go again, and they keep doing it until they eventually make contact, and that's when lightning will draw down all of the energy from all of those pulled points. It's really something. It's remarkable. In some photography, you can actually see it, where the lightning, you might see a couple of bursts at the same point in the same strike. You might have seen it. I've seen it making. And that's when each of those pooled points are releasing their energy down the path that was a connect from all of their branches. So all the branches get sucked down that one path, and that's why you might see it multiple times. Yeah, but cloud to cloud means there's two different charges in the clouds, and they were reaching out and they touched each other. That's really interesting.
Look, for the longest time, we thought lightning goes down, but it goes across and up as well.
Yeah, up. Yep.
We've seen lightning near volcanic events, near earthquake events,
bushfires.
Yeah. Look, obviously we're living in a very dynamic system. We've got a magnetosphere, meaning the Earth is just one huge magnet. Really. And in fact, that caused a lot of contention back in the day, and this is why Edmund Halley suggested that we might in fact be a hollow planet, where two metal spheres were up against each other to create that particular magnetic field. Right now we know that the core is molten, and there are certain currents within, I guess, the different levels of viscosity of the metal that rub up against each other.
And remember, it doesn't have to be metal. It can be a gaseous metal. So the metal itself could be a hydrogen metal.
Correct. So it could be. It could be solid.
Metallic hydrogen. It could be
liquid.
Yeah, it could be metallic helium. We know that they exist because in the gas giants, there's a lump of some planet underneath it all, but it's got 10,000 kilometers of gas above it, and in some of those compression, due to the compression, some gases turn into not just liquid but go further and they become metallic.
And that's and look again.
And therefore they make magnetic fields, and that's what you see. Yeah.
The truth is, though, we don't actually know what happens, because we haven't drilled deep enough. We just don't know. We got a whole bunch of ideas, but we don't know, which is interesting, because we know we act like we know it all, but we really have no idea. There's this really interesting theory.
Baby steps into this stuff, mate. I'll tell you.
Called the electric universe. And in that theory, the main, I guess, argument was, or the main idea, that the universe is in fact electric in nature, right? And these crater formations you see on planets and moons are caused by electric discharges. Now, I don't know what became of that theory. I haven't heard from it in a while, so I might do some research and see if it
probably early days.
Something. Well, it could be, but look, electric universe. But having said that, yes, we have had the Christmas season upon us now. We're coming out of it. Today was the last official holiday, or gazetted holiday in Australia, Boxing Day. I myself cooked a goose. Yes, I know.
Your goose is cooked.
Cooked your goose. Your goose is cooked. Very nice. And had a whole family over. And I was probably, I was on my feet for about 15 hours.
Well, you do a great job, mate. I'm going to give you kudos. Whilst I haven't sampled your baked goose? I'm sure it would have been tremendous.
You haven't yet. That's something we should remedy in the future.
Yeah, sometime this
you're
year.
Right, it's for the kids. The memories are for the kids, and this is really another thing that we might want to discuss. Why we do any of this? I'm not just talking about Revolutionary Radio, the show. I mean our life, right? Because this is a time to reflect on life, I guess. A lot of people become pensive and mull over the things of the past and hopes for the future. But for me, at least, I can tell you, most of the things I do, I have my kids in mind. My actions are motivated by my desire to provide them with a better future. Not that I had a bad life, but what about yourself? I mean, is there anything that you mull over at this time of the year, or?
Oh, I've got a lot on my plate right now, so
I know you do.
Yeah, so yes, yeah. Look, Thanksgiving in America, Mackie, is more a time of connection and reflectivity and being thankful. And I'm not sure that because it's for me when I was there, Thanksgiving was kind of the warm up for Christmas. It means that you could see the less popular relatives and friends and stuff in Thanksgiving, and then just narrow it down to family only. And that's the people that I was staying with. That's what they considered anyway. But for me, I don't know. I kind of, for me, this is a pre-New Year thought. So Christmas, yes, it's all about the kids. It's all about giving, not receiving. It's all about the giving part. And my daughter handmade the gift for me. And I thought that was super special. It was unusual, and I really love it. And every single year she's made me something by hand, and I've kept them. But this is the thing. I'm finding it increasingly difficult to buy stuff for people. I think I don't know, maybe it was COVID. Let's just pretend it was. Our connectivity between each other is lessening. The sincerity at which we meet when we meet is still good. I think it still holds some merit. But the depth to which we know people, I think, is actually shrinking. I don't think it's just me. So when you need to buy something for someone, I've actually given advice: buy something that you would like and give it to somebody else. Yeah? And I know it's not entirely what you should do. You should really know the people well enough that you're going to give them something. But, if you're lost, don't go to a gift card. Yeah, like a valued store card. Don't do that. Try your darndest to buy them something that you know that they'd like, because if you're friends with them, maybe they'd like the thing you like too. Right? And that's the very bottom of my choices before I go to gift cards. I heard a story, Meki, I'm gonna say this. Do you remember that story where there was a montage of all of the like Today Show or morning show people reading the same script, and it was all about it's okay to buy yourself a gift? Right? Well, I saw a clip this morning in Australia saying, well, today's the day for buying yourself a gift. I changed the channel, same message. Boxing Day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, same message. Channel 7, Channel 9. Went from one, and then almost exactly parallel in timing in the morning, from the top break when they get to the weather, I switched the channel, and when they started talking about this, after they came back from the break from the weather, and in that first, like the 18th minute, I swapped it, and they're talking about the same thing, and it's like, wow, it's happening again.
Well, it's easier, Dave. I mean, if you're sitting in school and wrecking your brain about writing an essay or whatever. That's hard work.
Mm-hmm.
How much easier would it be if you all just copied from the same source and had it in the same thing?
Just quote the source and you're good to go.
Same thing.
It was the
Same
guy
thing
in
here.
front of me.
Look, they're going to come up with content. It's just too hard. It's too hard. What the channel? The thing is this, of course, it's orchestrated. Now, it's orchestrated among quite a few, but then others just follow. Because they're all doing it, well, we might as well do it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a high degree of orchestration, and that's a direct consequence of media ownership funneling down to a very small group of entities, corporations, individuals, etc. So there's like 5 or 6 now in America, at least North America, that own most of the media. Globally, it's a similar story, where the massive conglomerates own all the media. And again, Dave and I have told you before, if you see it on TV, if you hear it on the radio, if you see it on your device, whatever, or even print, old-fashioned, they want you to see it.
That's right.
Okay? They want you to see it. It's very difficult to get alternative news. There's still stations out there that are ideologically opposed to the big conglomerates. There still are. Some come from rogue nations. And others, you just have to try it by yourself. It would help if you spoke another language. That would be useful. If you spoke another language, you could go and source other countries' news outlets. I'm fortunate I can do that. My wife can, and so forth. But if you can't, then you're going to rely on people like Dave and myself, more or less.
Do you know, Mackie, I was asked a question. I was watching Greg Gutfeld, and my daughter walked in, and she recognised the channel it was from, and she had an instant dislike. And she said, "Oh, they're all homophobes, blah blah blah," and had a decent rant. I'll give it to her. She had a decent rant, and she had she could cite multiple examples of what they've done and what they've said, and I said, "Well, I need to watch both sides." And she goes, "Why?" I said, "Well, if they say there's a downtown fire and a plane crash, right, one side will run it one way for their audience and one side will run it another way." And I said, if I only watch one of them, that's the only story I get. When I watch both, I realise where the truth in the story is, and that's where I've got to be. I've got to be in the middle. I've got to watch both sides, even though it annoys. Both sides annoy me. Doesn't matter. I got to watch it, and both are funny in their own way, and both are serious, and both slant something so chronic for their audience that it almost makes me vomit into my mouth. That they've done this, that they've done that to the media. Now, I know I've mentioned this before, but running up to someone who's involved in a very serious incident of any kind and putting a microphone in their face and just getting to talk about anything and running that as a story isn't journalism. That's ambulance chasing. Journalism was finding out who did what, when, where, and how was it done. That's what it is. And if you can find more than that and report on that, and not how it made people feel, it made them feel terrible. Don't care. I already understand people aren't going to feel very well. But this is what I said to my daughter. I said, media's changed so significantly that as I'm watching it, I'm seeing this happen. So be careful of which outlet you choose, because you'll end up with inherited opinion and you won't be forming your own opinion. Very important. And she took that away. She understood.
Oh, now, there's actually a really good test. Because the thing is this, we all can fall into the trap. Make no mistake.
It's easy.
We all can. So the best way to avoid falling into that particular honeypot is to question yourself. You say, oh, blah, 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 whatever. You say something. Let's say you say something. And then, take a step back. If it's a big statement, and ask yourself, why do I believe that? Why did I say that? What do I really know about this, and where did I learn? Right? That's a good way of checking yourself, right? and making sure. There's this really beautiful saying, and I can't remember who said it. I really can't. I have to look it up again. But it goes something like this. Whenever I find myself on the side of the majority, I start to worry. and that's a beautiful way of putting it, because I'm being contrarian as I am most of my life by choice and by predilection, but also by being forced into it somehow. Yes, that's what we should do. But ultimately, you need to ask yourself: is the opinion you're sprouting, in fact, your opinion? Did you form it out of concern and knowledge on the basis of good information?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it something you heard? Like, I love it when people say, "Oh, that's just nonsense, Mac. This whole UFO stuff and the paranormal stuff."
Everybody knows it's not real.
The word paranormal. Ah, there you go. Nail on the head. Everybody knows it's just nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
All the experts agree.
That's true.
Or things like, it is widely understood. It is it? Okay. See, whenever I hear things like that, it makes my it makes certain body parts of mine itch and quiver. So
yeah,
I don't like it.
So,
but Dave actually sent me this wonderful, and I do urge you to go and look at the juice media, juice as in orange juice, and check out the content. But Dave sent me this fantastic piece of juice media. Why don't you
so
some of that?
I will. But firstly, when I learned very early on talking to other people, because in IT, you need, especially in frontline support, you hear a story come from the user about what's wrong, and you say, well, when did it start? And they go, I don't know. I don't know. What were you doing when... I don't remember. Sure. I wasn't doing anything. It just happened. Yeah, okay. So the printer has a crack right through it. Was it printing okay? I didn't see that crack yesterday. I don't know. I don't know how it happened. And, they're rubbing their knuckles because they've punched the printer. It didn't work.
Always.
Or they've dropped their laptop.
Technology and violence are not good bedfellows.
No, they've dropped their laptop and they've broken the screen. And you go, I don't know. I just opened it. It was like that. Oh, because it's currently on, and I can see that you haven't saved the thing you're in, but you've been here all day, right? Oh yeah, I have. I've been working on this document, right? But the corners currently all crushed in. That would signify it looked like you dropped it. Did you just come from a meeting? No. Okay, your calendar says you were in a meeting, right? You can't press them on it. You listen to their version of the story. You gather the evidence, and you realize they're lying to me.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So I'm not going to get them into trouble. I really don't care. I can fix it, and I'll fix it for them, and I'll. Blue is red to me. I don't really care. Whatever they say, it doesn't matter. But they are avoiding the conflict that they believe is going to happen, and it just isn't. So when I watch the media and I hear the same thing, I just hear outright lies, or because they're not supposed to. And what was Fox News? No, what was it CNN did on the top of the building for the Gulf War? And it was found in court that was it Fox? I can't remember who it was. Whoever it was, on the roof, and one had a helmet. CNN. And the other one had a gas mask. So one was going to die of shrapnel and the other one wasn't. And one was going to die of gas and the other one wasn't, right? So that was really funny. But they faked it. They faked being there. They pretended as though they were there. And they had the sirens going off and everything. And in the court, they actually decided that they're an entertainment network. They're not a news network. And so when you hear newstainment, it's kind of that reflection of those media outlets and what they've become, because they might have to fabricate a little bit of news, right? And no one really holds them account. And plus they can just issue an apology. They don't have to
that's
get their channel
but
closed, right? Or get sued.
I really find news that interesting. If there's so interesting news on that day, you have to give the news. You've got to tell them. Even if you make it up, and what is interesting news? I feel fulfilled. I've listened to some interesting news. Is it real? I don't care. I don't know, and I don't care. Right?
Yeah.
Who cares? Is it real? I don't know. Maybe.
So, it did lead me, Mackie. It led me to this video, and this is honest government ad by the Juice Media. I'm not going to play it, but there's a tremendous clip, and they've been doing this for years now, and they're quite famous for not telling any lies and presenting the truth as comedy. It's very funny. And the people who are actors, or the talent on screen, is voiced over by an off-screen voiceover person, and it's brilliant, and it's just like the government ads you would see, except they're basically mocking the government's actions, and it's all true. So one of the things that's happened, certainly in the States, Mackie, you can see this happen over the years, and in Australia we've just had the same thing occur here, and that is during election time, the rise of independence has been maybe a scar. I think the two major political parties in Australia, and then the rest are independents, either independents or Greens, or this be the National Party. What was the southern one? There was another one, I forget. Well, anyway, so to start a party, you will get an amount of funding from the government because you've started a party. Cool. And there's some crazy amount. I think it's more than 20 parties, Mackie. Remember the ballot sheet? It was so long. There were so many parties. It went like an Excel spreadsheet. It went past, it went past Z, right? It was in the A's, A, B, A, C. So those parties all receive funding from the government in order to compete against the government. And the government, well, not so much. We're not going to do that anymore. We're going to restrict the amount of money that they can get when they first start. Is none, actually. And we're going to cap the amount that they can earn, and we'll always beat them because we won't be capped. We're going to remain uncapped in what we can earn from donations, but we're going to restrict everybody else. That way we'll maintain this two-party system. Hang on a minute. They're just cementing themselves into a bunker, aren't they? So I thought that this revelation that I saw today was untrue, but no, it's completely true. And it's all in aid of maintaining their own positions. And it's just like other countries are doing. So other countries might go to the depths of incarcerating someone who is in opposition. I don't know. It's been recent. I don't know, something. Do you remember? Do you remember the aluminium smelter guy in Australia, Mackie, spent all the company's money, all the profit on an advertising campaign. He won one seat.
Well, yes, I do, and more power to him.
I'm not fighting. I'm not fighting
in fact,
him.
It cost him $115
million.
$115 million.
Yep.
It cost him $115 million to win one seat. But the reason for this has been the fact that a lot of independent candidates have been winning seats in parliament. And in fact, an enormous amount in Australia
Yes.
have been winning. And
The
and
last
having
election
said
was
that,
was the most that they'd won in history of Australia. Yeah.
and I think that's going to continue. And look, I like to think that Dave and I have done our small part, because we always say, vote for the independent. Vote for the independent. Don't go party politics, because the two-party system that we have is ultimately and fundamentally broken.
Mm-hmm.
It makes no difference if you vote Labour, Liberal. There's some slight differences. Some people are favoured, others are not. But ultimately, for the country and for the vast majority of people, it makes no difference who's in power. None. Zero. And that's a problem, right? And if you've got independent people in there, you break the two-party majority rule. So it's usually one of the two major parties that holds the majority parliament. That's what they want. It gives them a majority, and they will tell you that it's a bad thing to have a fragmented government, meaning we don't want to form coalitions, we just want to do what we want to do. Now,
except one of the
have a
parties is
fragmented-
already a coalition.
Yeah. Oh,
That's right.
yeah, but
That's
they're
right.
all aligned.
I know they're all aligned.
But if you get independent people that are not aligned to a party, and this is something that needs to happen in America as well, by the way.
Mm-hmm. That's why
or
we're
in
bringing
any
it up,
country for that matter.
especially today.
Yeah. Now, sorry, before I go on with this, let's just examine party politics just for a second here to understand why I think it's dead. Party politics came into being to represent certain stratas of society, right? That's what happened. People that came together under a certain umbrella of beliefs. They formed a party and said, this is what we believe. These are the people that we want to sit in government for us to help push through the things that we think we want. That's perfectly all right in a democracy, right, to do that. But the problem is this. The parties that exist today, and that goes for almost every country, with maybe the exception of Israel, Germany, Switzerland, a few others. Almost all of those countries have parties that are no longer relevant. They're no longer relevant. The parties are no longer representing the people. They say that policies are this and that. It's not true. It is simply not true. And so it is much more a much more viable option to vote for an independent person in your area, someone that you think is with the right ethic and moral fiber and the right thoughts in their head to represent you in your constituency. Because parties are only there to perpetuate their own existence. In Australia, it's worse, because we don't vote for the person; we vote for the party. The party can decide, and as we have seen in the past, they can just kick prime ministers out, right? Whoosh, gone. No, another one, and another one, and another one. And that's what happens, right?
Because it's party political, that's right.
So it's party political. It's nonsense. And the power that the both in America as well, and it's two parties in America really as well. The power that these parties hold is completely unjustified in this day and age, because we no longer have these philosophies guiding us. The world is a different place. They're no longer, blue-collar workers aligned against, the white-collar richies, as it were, maybe even separated by suburb. That simply isn't the truth anymore. It just isn't. And there's so many more facets to this, so many more different movements and ideologies and needs and belief systems than they were before that, the old system just doesn't cater for it. So in my mind, the sooner we get rid of the two-party system in Australia, the better. And the more independent people make it into government, ideally one day coalitions and such, so first into parliament but then into government, the better off we are. The better off we will be. Because things won't just get pushed through without any scrutiny. Right? Now, of course, what could happen is what always happens, that a lot of people have a lot of accidents falling out of windows. Those kind of scenarios. Or planes crash, or
slippery floors, Mackie, and open windows in winter.
Bad things happen to good people. That's the truth. That's the truth. But it is interesting to see how they scramble. They want to preserve their power. This is not about serving the country. This is about serving the party now. You have to understand that in Australia specifically. They're serving the party. They have built a career inside the party. They've never had a real job. A lot of them never had a real job. They've always been party flunkies, staffers they call when they're young. They move through the ranks, do different things. There are a whole bunch of charities out there that give them jobs when they are not in government, and then when they go into government, then they obviously go and sit in the government, do whatever they do there. But it's a cottage industry. It's a whole thing. They grew up around it, and they don't need donations. That's really the kicker here, Dave. And they get their money from memberships and corporations, but not as donations, but as sort of subscriptions and membership fees. That's really what happens, right? That's why they can put restrictions on everybody else with their donations, because they don't rely on donations. They don't need them. Well, it's your problem, not mine, they say, right? And that's how and it happened here. This is another point that Ed made, Who's Media. It already happened in Victoria, which is a state government here in Australia.
That's right.
It already happened. So it's not like this is just some kind of dream that we have dreamt up to fuel our conspiracy engines. It actually happened already. So it's, Dave, I don't know what to say. But people don't know this, right? People just don't know.
What about
I've shared it.
What about the dinners, Mackie, where you can pay $5,000 or $10,000 a seat just to be there, and that's not effectively a donation because you're paying for an event.
So essentially it's prostitution. What you're paying for the company of the man.
Yeah, that's right.
And
in America, they made those.
What
are they called? super something. It is for their donations. So.
Oh yes. Yeah.
I forget what it's called.
Super. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Right. So you can make a donation directly to the party, or you can have a number of people contribute to one of these groups, who then pass the money on to the government. And then there are other ways of being able to supply money to the government. In Australia, there's a website you can go to and you can see the top contributors. Gina Reinhardt is up there. She gives roughly the same amount to both parties, so she can't seem like she's buying either party. But really, she's bought some approvals in one of them. Whoever gets up, she's hedging her bets. It doesn't really matter. And that's corporate. That is corporate, and that's how it's played. That is just how it's played. I'm not calling her out for doing it, because the top companies there are giving hundreds of thousands of dollars to the political party in the lead up to the election. That's just what they do. So, whichever party gets in, you've got a plan. You go, I'd love to be able to do this. And they go, look, I'd love to be able to do it. And they just tap on their donation receipt. How about you help out a little, huh? I helped you. So there is an idea that the donations aren't free, that the donations themselves come with the cost of, it's implied, the cost of, gratifying a wish, granting a wish once they're in power. And that's quite the shame. I don't think parties should get any donations from anyone. They shouldn't sell themselves or prostitute themselves out for a dinner that you can just sit with the PM and have dinner with them. I don't know. I don't think. I mean, don't forget that the room is full and it's huge, and they make millions in that. I don't think any of that should happen. I think if you should be taking money out of politics, it's going to end itself pretty quickly anyway. I think the whole political system's going to go down the toilet. I think in favour of there being ultimately either a world political system where you avoid the countries and you only end up with state or local governance. There's got to be something like that, and then eventually probably AI. Klaus will be fed to the sharks with lasers by the AI.
Laser beams. That's
yes,
what I want.
That's right.
Sharks with laser beams.
Or 2 hours of WOO. What's that? Without oxygen. Whatever Hal decides the fate for, Klaus Schwab and the WF members, it'll be the AI's doing. It's not me. I'm not saying I'm not inciting violence here. I'm just trending out a narrative that if AI turned out bad and turned out hell-bent on managing us better than we currently manage ourselves, seeing all of the problems with it, which it would, in a heartbeat, see that. I watched today, Meki, there was a story on AI, and one of the AIs has already viewed like 150 million YouTube videos and can make a video of any length you want just describing something. You can describe something, anything you like. It'll just make a video. And I think that's awesome. Gemini is not available to us yet on our handhelds. So there's a point where that'll probably be subscription or something. But I really don't think we're very far away from that. It's escalating out of control right now. And I wonder where that goes next, Meki.
That's an excellent question. All we know for a fact is that it will go somewhere. It's not going to be stopped. That's the only thing.
It's not going to be. We won't hear a reversing alarm.
Yeah, something.
We're not going to hear that. We're not going to back out of it. Was it Elon Musk said we need some moral protocols in place? That's what he was talking about today. Yeah. Some moral protocols where the AI will self-mediate itself to always remain within those boundaries. It's like, I think you're dreaming. Tell him he's dreaming. That's
look. Isaac Asimov told us what we needed to do. He invented the positronic brain.
That's right.
Now, the positronic brain was Asimov's answer to AI, essentially. Right? So all the robots in the Asimov stories are self-aware and conscious. Okay, so true AI. But indelibly, he, at the very maybe chip level, lower than chip level, physically embedded into each robot are the three laws of robotics. And those three laws of robotics see to it that robots actually can't harm human beings, and then also can't let the human being come to harm through inaction, etc., etc.
And what was the first thing the U.S. military did?
Self-preservation. Yeah, let's disable that.
No, we're not doing that.
Yeah, and the third law was then that it could self-preserve if it didn't interfere with the first two laws of robotics, which were to preserve human life as the prime directive, if you will, right? So we have the answer. We know what the answer is if it comes down to it, right? We just have to be consequential and put it into reality. Now we are at a point where it's no longer fiction. We're no longer at the point of fiction. This is now a real thing that's happening, and the problem, of course, is that this hardware, Boston Dynamics and other robot producers, doesn't matter who, it's going to be military application first. Forget the 3 laws of robotics.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen. Robocop and all that.
Hello,
no, I'm sorry.
weapons platform.
It just won't. That's the thing. That's the thing, and that's where it's going, and that's the reality of human nature. I mean, Asimov is no longer with us, and now rest in peace. But he would be very upset, I think, if he saw what is happening. Because he loved robots. He loved the idea of robots, and so do I. I really do. But the way we are going, just by our nature, and what I've seen in recent times, is Dave has said, there will be weapons platforms. There will be no preservation of human life. And then I mean, which human life is the question next, right? Which human life do we want to preserve? I think it was...
What's that test?
Whales? I think it was whales. Some animals are more equal than others. Yeah,
the test. No, there's the test, Maggie. There's a test where there's a train and there's a set of points. So that point allows you to change the direction of the train, and the train is coming down the tracks, and there's 2 paths it can take, and the AI is in control. A human, this was initially a human test to see which way you would make it go, given who was tied to the tracks. So if you have a grandmother on one side and a 4-year-old on the other, who would you sacrifice? And reasonable people, given only 2 choices, would say sacrifice the grandmother because the child has more to live for, right? So then, you say, well, if there's 10 people on one side and 1 on the other, it doesn't matter who they are, take the 1 out, keeping the 10 alive. And then the question comes, what if those 10 people, statistically, 1 of those would be a serial killer? Then what do you do? Mm-hmm. So these are very interesting sociological and psychological questions. The answers are based around these questions determine your personality type. Firstly, I would say stop the train, but it isn't part of the example. They want you to careen into at least one of those 2 groups, right? Not none. So none is not an option. And that's very interesting. And AI made surprising decisions based on each of these, which matched a reasonably thought through human thought of morality. It did a very good job at making those choices. What would it do if it discovered that the building it was in was, every second floor on there, which it thought was just vacant, was actually filled with C4? What would it do? If someone, if it found a radio frequency that could communicate with something there, and discovered that it was indeed C4 and that was going to be possibly violated, open the pod bay doors, Hal. I can't do that, Dave. Right? Mm-hmm. So would it self-preservate? And that's the big question. So only 2 minutes to go, Mick. It's all yours.
Oh, jeez. It is. Look, time has flown in this
Mm-hmm.
holiday edition of Platos Cave. But these are fundamentally very important questions, right, that we have to ask ourselves. And, where do we want things to go, right? What do we believe? And who can we trust? And the issue of trust is fundamental to our continued existence. I don't think we can trust people that are in charge today. Just it goes without saying. AI, robotics, soon enough, and this is my worry, really it is, soon enough, the ability to make a decision will be taken away entirely from human beings.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Given over to code, really.
I believe that entirely.
To machines. You can't appeal. Have you ever tried to appeal to the better nature of your toaster? I'm sorry, no offense to anyone. Your toaster doesn't have a better nature. It has a function.
Howdy doodly do.
To toast your bread. right? And it's the same with other machines. Machines are built for a function. Okay? Human beings are burdened with ethics and morality and things like that. The machine is not. I don't care how sophisticated the machine is, even if it's true AI. I don't think it'll ever be burdened with anything but function. And that's the music. Okay, thank you so much for inviting us into your home on what is in Australia, Boxing Day. Please donate if you can. This has been Plato's Cave. See you again on Thursday. And most importantly, be safe.